The sun shone brightly over the quaint suburb of Austin, Texas, warming the manicured lawns and pristine homes of Elder Circle. Children played happily outside, reveling in the last days of summer break. 6-year-old Catherine Corzilius pedaled her pink bike up and down the quiet cul-de-sac, her ponytail bouncing behind her. Though life seemed idyllic in this peaceful neighborhood, darkness loomed just around the bend. Hello guys, and welcome back to Crimeco, where we meticulously dissect some of the most chilling true crime cases from every corner of the globe, providing you with the most recent and in-depth information. If this sparks your interest, we would be delighted if you could subscribe to the channel. Also, giving this video a like significantly supports the channel's growth. We appreciate your help. Now, grab a blanket to hide behind, and let's dive into today's interesting case. The winding, tree-lined lanes of Elder Circle formed a peaceful suburban oasis just outside bustling Austin, Texas. With its large, elegant homes and neighborhood parks, the community attracted upper-middle-class families seeking tranquility and safety for their children. 6-year-old Catherine Corzilius embodied the innocence of childhood in Elder Circle. The cheery first grader adored drawing, playing with neighborhood friends and nurturing the bugs she discovered in her family's lush garden. Though Catherine's father, Paul, worked as personal manager for famed rock musician John Bon Jovi, providing a comfortable lifestyle, she remained a down-to-earth and joyful little girl. Catherine lived in Elder Circle with her parents Paul and Nancy, along with her older brother, 9-year-old Chris. The future seemed bright for the close-knit Corzilius clan. But unimaginable tragedy loomed right around the corner, shattering the idyllic community to its core. On August 7, 1996, Catherine spent the day running errands with her family, including picking up a birthday gift for her father. As Nancy pulled up to the neighborhood's cluster of communal mailboxes on their return home, Catherine asked to walk the short distance back alone. Nancy agreed to grant her independent-minded 6-year-old that little bit of freedom. After all, their home was just 4 houses down the street, a quick walk along a route Catherine had navigated by herself many times before. Catherine cheerfully started off as Nancy and Chris drove away in the opposite direction.
It's a short walk, probably less than a quarter of a mile.
Then 10 minutes ticked by with no sign of Catherine's return. An ominous silence had fallen over the typically buzzing subdivision. When Chris came back empty-handed from searching the mail area for his sister, panic set in.
He came back in just a very short period of time, a few minutes, and he was crying, and he said, "She's not there, Mom."
Nancy frantically drove the streets, searching for Catherine. Mere minutes later, the unthinkable sight appeared. There lay 6-year-old Catherine, curled up motionless in the road, just feet from her home. Though unconscious with severe injuries, she clung to life as Nancy scooped her up and raced the 25 minutes to Sidon Medical Center. But the damage was too extreme. Catherine passed away at the hospital that evening, the details of her fate still a mystery. In the immediate aftermath, Catherine's death appeared to be the result of a horrible accident.
I arrived at 12:30 in the morning, and I believe she was pronounced dead at 11:30 that night, an hour before my arrival.
Specifically, authorities eyed a hit-and-run scenario along her walk home from the mailbox. But upon closer inspection, the evidence failed to add up. The complete lack of skid marks or debris at the site seemed to rule out a collision with a vehicle. And how could a driver hit Catherine in the middle of a quiet residential road in broad daylight?
The injuries that Catherine sustained could have been the result of either jumping from a moving vehicle, being thrown from a moving vehicle, or falling from a moving vehicle.
With no apparent effort to stop or swerve, a cold-blooded motivation seemed more plausible. Most perplexing was Catherine's location when found. She lay on the opposite side and stretch of road from the direction towards her home. This puzzling piece of the puzzle led investigators to cast further doubt on the hit-and-run theory. the medical examiner's report only deepened the mystery. Katherine's injuries were not consistent with being struck by a car. Instead, she exhibited trauma indicating she either jumped, fell, or was thrown from a moving vehicle, but whose vehicle remained the burning question. As investigators probed this frightening new angle, they focused on nearby vacant lots that peppered the community. It was here perhaps that a predator had snatched Katerina during her fateful walk, later ejecting her from a speeding car. But with few clues and the case now long cold, exactly what transpired in those final minutes remains frustratingly obscured. In the aftermath of the perplexing case, fear rippled through Elder Circle at the prospect of a child killer walking amongst the manicured lawns and pristine homes. Katerine's devastated parents clung tightly to the belief that their daughter was abducted and murdered just steps from their door. Today, a plaque honoring Katerine's far too short life sits under a tree planted by neighbors along her former street. But with limited evidence and the tragic mystery unsolved, unease still lingers below the community's placid surface. Katerine's case delivers a haunting warning. Danger and evil often disguise themselves in even the most peaceful of places. On the day Katerina Korzelius lost her life, August 7, 1996, she spent the hours leading up to the devastating event enjoying time with her family while running errands. There was a carefree air that summer vacation day as Katerina soaked up the last precious days before returning to Valley View Elementary School. The outings included a stop at the math tutor and lunch at Subway, but the main mission was picking up a special birthday gift for Katerine's father, Paul Korzelius. August 7th happened to be Paul's 48th birthday, adding cheerful anticipation to the day. Though Paul was away in New York City managing work for famed client John Bon Jovi, the family aimed to celebrate upon his return home. Later that afternoon, Katerina, her mother Nancy, and older brother Chris loaded into the car and began the drive back to their gated community of Elder Circle. The large, upscale homes and winding streets created a peaceful suburban oasis just outside the bustling city. Katerine's family enjoyed an upper-middle-class lifestyle thanks to Paul's successful career. As the car pulled up to the neighborhood's shared mailboxes, Katerina asked her mother for permission to walk the short distance home alone. Nancy agreed, seeing no harm in allowing her independent-minded 6-year-old this little taste of responsibility.
Mommy, may I walk home?
Sure. I'll see you when you get there.
Okay.
Their house was just 4 away, a quick jaunt along a route Katerina had traveled by herself many times before. Plus, with the extra errands, it had already been a long day sitting in the car. Katerina waved goodbye as she cheerfully headed off on foot towards home. Meanwhile, Nancy and Chris drove away in the opposite direction to take the longer route around the circular Elder Circle Street. In just a few short minutes, they anticipated Katerina would come bounding through the front door, proud of her solo excursion. But 5 minutes passed, then 10, with no sign of Katerina back home. An ominous silence hung over the typically lively neighborhood. Sensing something was wrong, Chris rushed back to the mail area, but found no trace of his little sister. Urgent panic now set in. Nancy frantically climbed back into the car, with Chris to search every street in Elder Circle, yelling Katerina's name. Within mere minutes of setting out, the unimaginable sight appeared. There lay 6-year-old Katerina, curled up motionless in the middle of the road, just feet from home. Though unconscious with severe injuries, she clung to life as a panicked Nancy scooped her up and sped the 25 minutes towards Seton Medical Center. But tragically, the damage inflicted on little Katerina's body proved too extreme. She passed away at the hospital that evening, the details surrounding her death still a mystery. In the immediate aftermath, authorities eyed the most straightforward explanation: a horrible accident. The winding nature of Elder Circle Road pointed to a likely hit-and-run scenario occurring during Katerina's brief walk home from the mailbox area. Perhaps a neighborhood driver had been distracted or temporarily blinded by the setting sun and struck the small child without stopping to check. But upon closer inspection of the scene and evidence, the hit-and-run theory failed to add up. Investigators found 0 skid marks on the street or debris near where Katherine's body was discovered. How could a collision with a vehicle have occurred on such a quiet suburban street in broad daylight with no apparent effort by the driver to stop or swerve? Already, more chilling motivation seemed plausible. Even more perplexing was Katherine's physical location when found unconscious by her mother. She lay on the opposite side and stretch of Elder Circle from the direction back towards her house after leaving the mail area. This puzzling discrepancy cast further doubt on an accidental hit-and-run explanation. Instead, it appeared someone deliberately moved Katerina and staged the scene. But who? And were they also responsible for her ultimately fatal injuries? The medical examiner's disturbing autopsy findings only deepened the mystery swirling around the 6-year-old's tragic death. The report indicated Katerina's injuries were not consistent with being struck by a car. Instead, she exhibited trauma most likely from jumping, falling, or being forcibly thrown from a moving vehicle. Based on this chilling evidence, authorities began to seriously probe the possibility of foul play. But whose vehicle Katerina fell or was ejected from remained the elusive missing puzzle piece. With this frightening new homicide angle emerging, investigators focused on nearby vacant lots dotting the outer edges of the otherwise pristine neighborhood. It was here perhaps that a predator had snatched little Katerina during her brief walk and later tossed her from a speeding car. But with frustratingly few clues or eyewitness accounts from that fateful evening, authorities eventually hit a wall in their pursuit of answers. To this day, the full sequence of events surrounding Katerina Korzelius's tragic death remain obscured in mystery. In the years since losing their beloved daughter, Katerina's parents have clutched to the agonizing belief she was abducted and murdered just steps from their family home. Here is the next part. In the wake of 6-year-old Katerina Korzelius' shocking death, fear rippled through the previously peaceful community of Elder Circle. The prospect of a child killer walking amongst their pristine homes and manicured lawns left residents gripped by anxiety. Many parents began accompanying their children on even the shortest neighborhood walks or trips to the mailbox, no longer feeling secure in their tranquil suburb. The tragedy made clear that darkness could intrude anywhere, even in broad daylight of their gated community. As investigators hit dead ends in the case, confusion and speculation mounted over what exactly happened to Katerina during the 15 minutes between cheerfully waving goodbye to her mother and brother and being found unconscious in the street near death. Several puzzling clues pointed towards the increasing likelihood of foul play rather than a hit and run, but with minimal physical evidence or eyewitness accounts, authorities struggled to definitively state their theories. The lack of definitive answers frustrated Katerina's grieving family and the community members desperate for justice and closure. In the weeks after Katerina's death, residents rallied to support the Korzelius family, however they could during the difficult search for answers. Many helped poster the neighborhood offering a $5,000 reward for any information leading to the arrest of whoever was responsible for Katerina's death. Others brought food to the family or sent cards offering condolences, but nothing could fill the immense, unexplainable void left behind. Investigators did float possible scenarios that could explain Katerina's unusual injuries and location when discovered. One disturbing theory proposed she was the victim of an attempted abduction by a predator in the community. Perhaps she had been hauled into a vehicle but then pushed or thrown out, leading to the ultimately fatal trauma. This could account for her landing far from her expected walking route, but it remained speculation without witnesses or strong physical evidence. Another initially plausible theory suggested Katerina attempted to hitch an ill-advised ride by clinging to her mother's moving car, only to fall off at the site she was found. However, this was largely dismissed due to lack of feasibility. On a hot Texas summer day, the car's scorching metallic exterior would have seriously burnt Katherine's hands, making it impossible for her to maintain a grip. And her mother surely would have noticed the young girl in the rearview mirror during the drive. With no promising leads in the investigation and gossip replacing facts, the Korzilius family turned to a private investigator in hopes of uncovering new clues. But even with extensive canvassing of the neighborhood and re-interviews of potential witnesses, the PI came up empty-handed. With each passing year, hopes of ever conclusively solving the tragic mystery continued to dim. Katherine's death became a cold case, leaving only an enduring aura of unease hanging over Elder Circle. And so concludes another tragic chapter in the annals of history's strangest mysteries. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive to honor a life cut decades too short and to strive keeping hope alive her case may yet see light. Before you leave, please remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell. This will ensure you stay informed about the latest true crime cases we uncover. We're grateful to have you as part of our community as we explore the captivating mysteries that continue to intrigue us all. Stay curious and vigilant that even closed books still hold untold pages waiting patient revelation. Thank you for joining us, and we eagerly anticipate seeing you in our next exploration. Until next time.